The gift I never asked for. She never asked God for this particular gift. If someone had told her that one day she would carry something so painful and still call it a blessing, she probably would not have believed them. The gift did not arrive with joy. It arrived with tears. It brought questions she could not answer and nights when she cried quietly, wondering why God had allowed it to happen. Yet, through everything, there was a voice in her spirit saying, "Do not throw away what God is using to teach you." She didn't understand. But she held on. When the gift began to hurt. At first, she thought the pain would eventually disappear. She prayed. She waited. She believed. But the pain remained. There were mornings when she woke up feeling strong, only to remember what she was carrying. There were moments when she smiled in front of people while hiding tears behind her eyes. People saw her standing. They did not know how much strength it took to remain standing. She began asking God, "Lord, why did you give me something that hurts so much?" And heaven seemed silent. I wanted to give it back. There came a day when she wanted to give the gift back to God. She was tired. Tired of remembering. Tired of hurting. Tired of explaining. Tired of pretending that everything was fine. She said, "Lord, if this is a gift, I don't want it anymore." She cried until there were no more tears. But when the crying stopped, something unexpected happened. She felt peace. Not an explanation. Not an answer. Just peace. And sometimes, God doesn't explain the storm. Sometimes He simply gives you strength to survive it. The lesson inside the pain. With time, she began to understand. The pain had changed her. She became more compassionate. She learned not to judge people by what she saw on the outside. She learned that some people were fighting battles they never talked about. She learned how to pray for people who were hurting. She learned how to forgive. Most importantly, she learned how to trust God when she could not understand God. The gift had become a teacher. And the classroom was her life. I thanked God anyway. One morning, she knelt beside her bed. She didn't ask God to remove everything. Instead, she said, "Father, I thank you." She thanked Him with tears running down her face. She thanked Him for the days she survived. She thanked Him for the nights she thought she wouldn't make it. She thanked Him for the strength she didn't know she possessed. And she thanked Him because, through every painful moment, God had remained with her. She finally understood. The blessing was not that she never suffered. The blessing was that suffering did not destroy her. What I could not let go. People told her to let it go. Forget about it. Move on. Stop carrying the past. But they didn't understand. She wasn't holding on to the pain because she wanted to suffer. She was holding on to the lesson. She could not let go of what God had taught her through it. The memory reminded her of how far she had come. The scars reminded her that she survived. And every tear reminded her that God had been there. The gift changed me. She was no longer the same woman. The pain had softened her heart without destroying her spirit. She became slower to judge, quicker to forgive, more willing to pray, more willing to listen, and more determined to follow God. What once looked like a curse had become part of her testimony. She realized that sometimes the thing we desperately want God to remove is the very thing He uses to reveal who we are becoming. When I couldn't see God, there were still days when she couldn't feel God. Her prayers felt empty. Her heart felt heavy. She wondered if God had forgotten her. But then she remembered something important. God's silence does not mean God's absence. Just because she couldn't see Him didn't mean He wasn't working. Just because she couldn't feel Him didn't mean He had left. So she kept walking. One step. One prayer. One day at a time. The gift became a testimony. Eventually, her story became bigger than her pain. Someone else who was hurting heard her testimony and found hope. Someone who wanted to give up decided to pray one more time. Someone who thought God had forgotten them realized they were not alone. She finally understood why she had survived. Her pain had become a testimony. Her tears had become a message. Her scars had become evidence. God had carried her. I still thank God. She still remembers. She still has moments when the pain returns. But she no longer looks at her past the same way. She lifts her eyes toward heaven and says, "Lord, I thank you." Not because everything was easy. Not because she enjoyed the pain. Not because she understood every chapter. She thanks God because He never abandoned her. The gift hurt. The journey was difficult. The tears were real. But so was God's grace. And that is why she cannot let it go. Because if she lets go of the story, she might forget the God who carried her through it. There was purpose in the pain. What she thought was the end became a beginning. What she thought would destroy her became the foundation of her testimony. What she thought was weakness became strength. And what she thought was an unwanted gift became something she could use to encourage someone else. She finally understood. God doesn't waste pain. He can take the broken pieces and build something beautiful. He can take tears and turn them into testimony. He can take a wounded heart and teach it how to love again. The gift I cannot let go. Now she carries the gift differently. She doesn't carry it with bitterness. She carries it with gratitude. She doesn't carry it because she loves the pain. She carries it because she remembers the grace. She remembers the nights she survived. She remembers the prayers she prayed. She remembers the doors God opened. She remembers the strength God gave her when she had none left. And she says, "Lord, I may never understand why you allowed me to walk through it, but I thank you that you walked through it with me." That is why she cannot let go. Because the gift became a testimony. The pain became a lesson. The tears became a prayer. And the journey brought her closer to God. Sometimes the greatest gift isn't what God gives you. Sometimes it is who you become while carrying what He allowed you to go through. If this message touched your heart, please like, share, and subscribe. For part 2, turn on your notifications so you won't miss the next story, testimony, or message.